LGBT media me conservative pa. Sabi, what you have ever say. Number you and your first son, what have got to go in a dear one. Madam, because dear one minute be able to go ahead. Oh, dear, they're different. And they're attractive. And now, what you Mushukura make a macombo or 1 year. So, what year percent? Yeah, any sign. I'm calling you also you to be. What boy said, Bible said, come replicate, fill the world. Help me fill the world. Sabi, many double. Everybody ya fill the world. Yes, I will. And I bet you ya fill the world. I didn't tell you if you could remember something. Ghana for something. And I said, no parent, I said, Sakwadano, now I will be able to folks. Mammy, Yadaji, or Copisca, or Jana Passa. Papa di Bricako, ya just be do a book near the Tata Bukuna, a very assay. I could have only Bunku, the Hunify. I china na face sabi, and now for Bonnie Bassa. Only any pie. It's very to me. And in a sort of mechanic. By my papa, most of the man. It is a moment before, and or in Chichiani, I didn't chance in our I send a school, nearly a become and it's mentioned the moment if I need LGBT media me conservative pa. Sabi, what you have ever say?
This is Final Voice TV. Final Voice TV, as Masaba on Champion. And next so you share LGBT. And ya sama ya papa, and that's a Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Minister Alban Bagbin. Alban Bagbin Aka. I say I would prefer to die than live in Ghana if LGBTQI is legalized. I would prefer to die in Ghana. I would prefer to die than live in Ghana if LGBT is legalized. That is Asama Ifri, Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Hoba. Yeah, Papa Alban Bagbin, Sumani. Asama Ujuna was saying. Mamin Kanchro said there was a case and it happened with France. 9 June 2016. Mamin don't share that case. Shanice Mami said this is Final Voice TV. Oh, him or YouTuber. You'll bet my say you will subscribe and like this video and share to others. You can also leave your comment in the comment section. Okay, my Facebooker, I'm expecting you to like this video, share this video, and leave a comment. Let's get interactive on Final Voice TV. 9th June 2016. And the Pamianu be at the France Bank Court. Chapin and Chapente. Chapin and Chapente. Said the Pamianu almost you France, and that's a France Bank. On same-sex marriage, because to them, no, I was a same-sex marriage. A year, Juma, and I said, a didn't mind all France, mem. A seminal on the court. Now, 47 judges in the case in this one. 47 judges. Now, the court was the European Court of Human Rights. European Court of Human Rights. And the judges were 47. A plenary jury of 47. 47 judges more. Because an international court. I was Strasbourg, France. Now, on what's now case in this case, Chapin and Chapente at the buy against France Abano or Strasbourg, no. The European Court of Human Rights, etna so using the European Convention on Human Rights and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Court no based on judgment they reasoned based on the European Convention on Human Rights any the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. Nina come for no. Almost are reasoning using research or more finding in the philosophical field and also world. So they based their judgment based on philosophy, based on anthropological reasoning, that is anthropology, natural order, common sense, scientific reports, and a positive law. The court reasoned, aside basing their argument or their judgment on European Convention on Human Rights and the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. No? The court reasoned based on these: natural order, common sense, positive law, scientific reports, philosophical and anthropological reasoning, and no more adapted. Omuwi judgment ni nyina. Omuwi judgment ni nyina no. And Judges 47 no nyina unanimously said they agreed and concluded said the traditional concept of marriage is a union of a man and woman. The traditional concept of marriage is a union of a man and a woman. And to mean yes, I need to again, the court said they cannot impose on governments in Europe the obligation to open same-sex marriage. They cannot impose on governments in Europe the obligation to open same-sex marriage. This is what the court said. And the third thing, the last thing that they said in the judgment, as a conclusion, they say, with regard to the principle of non-discrimination, it leads to discrimination as we are neglecting or discriminating the few minority. The little minority is being ignored, and I say, yet a man for human rights, so on and so forth. People are basing the argument on human rights. But this court, in NIPA 47, they say, with regard to the principle of non-discrimination, the court said there is no discrimination since, and I quote, states are free to reserve marriage only to heterosexual couples. With regard to the principle of non-discrimination, the court added that there is no discrimination since states are free to reserve marriage only to heterosexual couples. This judgment came out on 9 June 2016, and the elite class is aware, media world over you are aware, but will be hiding. Judgment, so Messiah a review, so Omar amended this European Convention on Human Rights and also International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. I don't know whether it's been reviewed or amended. But this was the judgment in 2016, that states are free to reserve marriage only to heterosexual couples. And therefore, the court cannot impose on government in Europe the obligation to open same-sex marriage. And the court believed that based on philosophical reasoning and anthropological reasoning, based on natural order and common sense, based on scientific report and positive law, the court believed, said, traditional concept of marriage is a union of a man and woman. A union of a man and woman. Shannon Sumami said 3 things we. If a banana now bagana there, the story has changed. The story has changed. Let's listen to what former President of Ghana, J.A. Kufuor, said about LGBT. His stance on LGBT.
LGBT media conservative Sabi, what you want for FFC? Number you and your first son, what you could do go with Hana. At the end of one, Madame, because the end of 1 million people, oh, the end is different and attractive. na hojam e musu kura make am obo ade so obo ade percent ka ye ni sa nka on ye o se me otu God boy say Bible say come replicate fill the world help me fill the world sabe me do ebe na ya fill the world yes awo na ye betimi ya fill the world and the end musu kura na something Ghana for so
yeah man pay ko for send ye musu kura sha homosexuality no ye musu same sex marriage ye musu ama ono man pay ko for yenti asama ya papa Atamels e kan mrebi the late Professor John Evans Atamels
very clear. No one can deny Prime Minister Cameron his right to make policies, take initiatives, or make statements that reflect his societal norms and ideals. But he does not have the right to direct other sovereign nations as to what they should do, especially where their societal norms and ideals are different from those which exist in Prime Minister Karam's society. I, as president of this nation, will never initiate or support any attempts to legalize homosexuality in Ghana. As a government, we will abide by the principles enshrined in our constitution, which constitution is supreme. Let me also say that whilst we acknowledge all the financial assistance and all the aid which has been given to us by our development partners, we will not accept any aid with strings attached if that aid will not inure to our interest, or the implementation or the utilization of that aid with strings attached would rather worsen our plight as a nation or destroy the very society that we want to use the money to improve.
The president also talked about competing interests or issues.
So this is what Mampanyini Mills, the late Professor John Evans Atamels, may his soul rest in perfect peace. May his soul rest in power. You should rest in peace. Mampanyini Kufuor does not agree with same-sex marriage. Mampanyini Atamels does not agree with same-sex marriage. Mampanyini Dada John Dramani Mahama's statement to Abonten. His statement on same-sex marriage is on social media. What he said in Scotland years ago about same-sex marriage, that Ghana is a secular state, and none of the religious bodies, whether Christians or Muslims or even the pagan, believes in same-sex marriage. And or no man Muhammad and me accept same-sex marriage. This statement is in the public domain. Who else? The Speaker of Parliament, Swakasa. Some time ago, the Speaker of Parliament.
We need to legislate. Our friends just passed their law in Uganda. We may not go the way they have gone because our constitution is very clear as to the direction we should move. And so we'll be guided by that. Because if we pass any law against the constitution, it's unconstitutional. So we have to do that. And so what are you afraid of? If you have the whole people behind you, if God is with you, who can be against you? And if God says, please go into the wilderness, multiply and fill the world. That is God giving you that command. If somebody says, please don't multiply, how can that person be strong? I don't only speak this way in Ghana. Even at the last meeting we attended in IPU at Bahrain, Anybody who listened to my speech, there were sentences on this matter. Luckily, maybe because it's a Muslim country, they applauded me. If it's somewhere else, they will be asking questions.
Yeah, so this is Speaker of Parliament who stands on LGBT. Waka, no de kaka, ogosu kase. So what TSE party all my LGBT in and some of it support his stance. As a ja kono on the Speaker of Parliament, any people like Honorable Sam Jata George. And few people be in a few members of Parliament. It's like few members of Parliament in a giant upon. And anytime he comes out to make or declare his stance on LGBT, who said there is some sort of pressure or force on him, as I speak to you, obey the LGBT who send some echo court or Ghana. Interference, hindrance, heckling, and echo so. Because nipa bin per se, or me pass a law, no, a bill, namna by a law. Not Ghana, who said this is our stand as a nation. Or Maya was a Christopher mine. Or Maya in sorry does a chain mosque. The Christians can't speak. Muslims know the almost stands here clear. Or the Asia and Arab world, and even Africa, in the Muslim communities, almost stands here clear. Ade na ya see ye Christopher mine yentimen kasa. Ne ye jai kona boni pa few bi so. Sam George any Honorable Bagbin. In sorry no way Christians near way. Ya see a friend was a Christ like people no. Gay no. Aya dey so say wa daji mpo se obagiatum. Same sex marriage. Medical more preface, medical card see 9 June 2016. Our European Court of Human Rights. Strasbourg, France. Nipa 2, Chapente. Ecosil France about same-sex marriage. Mature court no ruling and how the court reasoned. And the conclusion of their judgment in Medicare cultural. Didn't na Ghana by Ghana courts. Yentimi reason. Didn't mean who said when go die or saying it make way. It has no moral basis. Where the natural. There is no natural order about this. Because the European Court of Human Rights, the European Court of Human Rights did to say the traditional concept of marriage is a union of a man. It's a union of man and woman. And that they cannot impose on government in Europe the obligation to open same-sex marriage. And that states are free to reserve marriage to only heterosexual couples. The states are free to reserve marriage to only heterosexual couples. Today, ain't take stand as a nation. Ghana for him, churches no him. Can pastors, can the Peace Council, Christian Council have series of conferences? Series of meetings. I almost stand almost every month or every 2 months. Yet to almost stand about the LGBT. Churches in Ghana say who be anywhere. That's a fear be anywhere. That's a hypocrisy be anywhere. Can churches in Ghana, the Peace Council, the Christian Council, whatever council, aglow, the prayer meetings, the prayer groups, ain't me should communicate. And me issue a statement say, this is our stand, our definite stand on LGBTQI. Because it's not based on natural order. It's not based on common sense. It's not based on positive law. It's not based on any anthropological benefits. And therefore, this is our stand as a nation. This is our stand as a prayer group. This is our stand as a Christian nation. This is our stand as pastors. The Muslim community too should be up and doing. What kind of ones are now we? chief imam and na pamfo. I'm sorry, no issue statement. So once again, the chief imam's office and the Muslim community say they would not support LGBT. And ne anasa ochana. Let's hear from you, our brother Muslims. I mean, our sisters and brothers in Islam. Let's hear from you once again. Let the Christians do the right thing. Let pastors, the men of God, do the needful. What does the book of Bible, the Bible say? What does the Holy Book say about LGBT? Use that as your stance as a pastor. This is Final Voice TV. So hemia, ye ka LGBT sensem. Any asama yera Speaker of Parliament ekai.
And let me be clear about where we stand. First of all, for the American press who are here, you know that a great deal of work in my career has been to address human rights issues, equality issues across the board, including as it relates to the LGBT community. And I feel very strongly about the importance of supporting the freedom and supporting and fighting for equality among all people, and that all people be treated equally. I will also say that this is an issue that we consider, and I consider, to be a human rights issue, and that will not change.
Question. First of all, we don't have any such legislation here in Ghana. A bill has been proposed to the Parliament of Ghana, which has all kinds of ramifications, which is now being considered by the Parliament. It hasn't been passed, so the statement that there is legislation in Ghana to that effect is not accurate. No legislation. The bill is going through the Parliament. It's going through the Parliament. The Attorney General has found it necessary to speak to the committee about it regarding the constitutionality or otherwise of several of its provisions, and the Parliament is dealing with it. At the end of the process, I will come in. But in the meantime, the Parliament is dealing with it. And I have no doubt that the Parliament of Ghana will show, as it has done in the past, first of all, its sensitivity to human rights issues, as well as to the feelings of our population, and will come out with a responsible response to the proposed. The legislation was a legislation that has been provided as a private member's bill. This is not an official legislation of the government, but it is one that has been mooted by a handful of private members. So we will see what the final outcome of it. But my understanding from a recent discussion I had with the chairman of the committee, that substantial elements of the bill have already been modified as a result of the intervention of the Attorney General. We will see what the final outcome will be, and that is the stage at which I will also have the opportunity to prevent.
That the Parliament should show sensitivity to the Ghanaian people. The Parliament of Ghana should show sensitivity to human rights. In which direction? Statement where your man paying for the Doma Vice President of America no. Na etosini na sunsum nim na authority be nim, because Kamala Harris bekan adwene the stance of America. So ba Ghana na kra na title LGBT ka ho human rights nsensem ka ho. Today the man paying into suntimi nkasa. Sa had ni de your parliament no ebetena na emum ebia na results na kwaye say yetimi nyintom. Based on scientific reports, based on positive law, based on common sense, based on natural order, based on anthropological reasoning or facts, based on philosophical facts. Yentimi nyintum as a nation. Ye man paying ntimi ankasa. Ntimi no kasa obeki LGBT sensem court or Ghana. Sa LGBT bill is being sued by somebody, and as usual, the tactics is like, let's go and have a farmer, let's go and have obi or your farm maybe now may plaintiff. Ghana. Once and for all. Your stance no. Our church is the banner. And Kawura church be almost a banner bo. Sa sorry we support LGBT. churches Asia Sunday bia. Churches Asia Sunday bia. Muslims Asia every day, but on Friday pardon ko Juma. Our some mosque and the churches banner, big banner. They churches say we don't support the LGBT. We don't support homosexuality. We don't support same-sex marriage. Today or tomorrow. Your man Payini Akuforo, and the Kanko Al Jazeera, Akokasa, it is bound to happen. Maybe not this generation. It's bound to happen, Ayabrofo. Maybe some 400 years later, 500 years later. That generation that will come and also make it to man, any problem. But our generation, no, and ready to accept the LGBT, the same-sex marriage. Can't we be bold and opine? Can't we speak? So Ghana, as it stands now, we have a lot to think about. We have wastage issues to deal with. We have corruption and mismanagement issues to deal with. We have gender issues to deal with. We have proper human rights issues. We have better human rights issues to deal with. We have issues of the minors. Better issues about minors to deal with. Can't we speak as a nation? Who is to speak? Your giant Tokana Bo, Honorable Sam George, Jata, and a few others. And the Speaker of Parliament. We have to commend the Speaker of Parliament for his action. We have to commend Sam Jata George. And those people who have taken that entrenched position, knowing say this does not follow natural order. This does not follow common sense. It has no moral basis. It's not based on any anthropological facts. We have to commend them. We have to always clap and commend these honorable members. The very few who have stood against the LGBT. I mean, the passage of the who are against accepting LGBT in Ghana. This is Final Voice TV. So what means one? We commend Honorable Bagbin and a few parliamentarians in Ghana. Our stance here clear about the LGBT. Moses Formoni, lawyer, thank you so much, you and your team, for making research, for making all the discussions and the argument about the LGBT. Ghana needs a stand. We need to speak. We need to talk as a nation. This is Final Voice TV on YouTube. This is Final Voice TV on Facebook. So what you can do is to like this video and share the video onto other platforms. Final Voice TV, Edu Besia. That's a message here.
LGBT media conservative. Sabi, what you want for FFC? Number you and your first now. What you want to do with Nana? At the end of one, Madame, at the end of 1 minute, oh, they are different. And they are attractive.